Well, hello, jellos. I mean, pumpkin flavored jellos.
This is the ghost from your nightmares.
And this is Luisa.
Okay, fine. Stassi here.
Welcome to Talktober with Talk Tales. This month we will be covering topics that may leave you thinking.
All night long. Woohoo!
Oh, well, hope you guys are having a good morning, afternoon, or whatever time of the day it is.
And today's song of the day is Low Life by Future featuring The Weeknd. You guys should definitely listen to it.
Oh, I've never heard that.
It's awesome.
What kind of music is it?
Well, like Future and The Weeknd. I don't want to say rap, but like it's not hardcore like Tupac, but still.
Okay, I kind of get the genre you're going for, but I mean it's okay. I know you don't know much like about the genre.
Yeah, no.
Anyways, you know what I've heard? Like what I've heard on, not even heard, what I've read.
What?
Okay, what? Listen to this. A scientist create a device that can mass produce human embryos.
That's horrible. Absolutely horrible.
What? Like,
well, in biology, I learned that there's a carrying capacity. And what if we pass that carrying capacity, then we're all just going to die?
what do you mean carrying capacity?
Like how many people the world can actually support.
Oh, you mean the population?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I don't think there's a problem with that because, millennials are refusing to have kids.
Or they're having it later on, right? I read something about that.
Maybe. But still, after the baby boomers, and I don't want to say they're gone, but, like, the population, I think.
It's definitely decreased, yeah.
Okay, anyways. But this is so weird. I saw it on the news, and it's the scientist is, I don't know, a little crazy.
So that means I can just go put in, like, this ticket saying, hey, scientists, make this kid?
I'm not sure, but this is what the scientist said. Fu said, "This new system allows us to achieve a superior efficiency to generate these human embryo-like structures."
That's one way to put it. To generate these human people-like structures.
Yeah, he led the research that they're doing about this.
I mean, at this point, I'm not surprised at anything that's being published in this era.
And this professor from University of Michigan, he's a biomedical engineer professor. He calls this step an exciting new milestone for this emerging field. Such human embryo-like structures have a lot of potential to open what we call the so-called black box of human development. Like, what?
What is this, Pandora's box?
It's the box
All
of
of a
humans. I mean,
like all of these humans.
like what?
I mean, yeah, it's ironic with what?
They're making model embryos from the stem cells to study like key steps in the human development.
Oh my god, yeah.
I mean, let's just have a baby and study it.
I mean, yeah, but
I don't know what goes into it. Maybe they're like, they're actually like, but I
like
don't know.
test objects.
It's kind of weird.
It is, definitely is, but I'm not surprised, honestly.
I just think this is like Twilight Zone material.
Anything can happen in this day and age.
Seriously.
It's just, at this point, I'm like, okay.
Well, anyways, I have a question for you. Do you know what Munchausen Syndrome is?
I think so. I think you told me one time when you're like in this relationship and you don't want to get out of it. Is that what it is? Or am I?
No.
That's the wrong syndrome.
You're confusing it with Stockholm.
Oh, okay. So yeah, no, it was one syndrome.
That one, that one's not this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So what Munchausen syndrome is? It is a psychological disorder marked by attention-seeking behaviors by a caregiver, or if it's not by proxy, it's by the person themselves who want to seek care, who want attention, stuff like that.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy. This has been out since 1951. It's actually named by a German cavalry, who would act this way, who would say he has illnesses when he doesn't for attention.
Wait, I think I have that.
No, no, you're talking about something else.
Yeah, but I don't seek attention for it. I'm just always worried that I have some sort of disease.
Exactly, and that's called hypochondriasis, and it's a condition where a person is excessively and just worried about having a serious illness, and I think that is you.
Yeah, yep. That sounds pretty much like me.
Like, oh, I have a bump on my hand. Let's go.
I swear, this bump on my head is on
Your
my
hand.
head.
Your hand.
On my hand is out of control. I think it got bigger.
You know how Stassi is? If she gets a bug bite, she has West Nile virus for sure. Like, you have West Nile virus.
Yes, I will literally make myself believe it so much that I'll probably end up having it.
Yeah, what is it called? The energy. You bring in the energy of it. But I have to say, it's like the time for me to shine when you hit me up with that text message saying like,
hey,
hey, I have cancer. Okay, yeah, you definitely have that.
Yeah.
I like, you can work on it now that you know. But just
you know why I think this really happens to many of us?
Why?
Because of Google. Because I Google, oh, I have tooth pain, and all of a sudden I have some type of angina or something like that.
Well, I mean, yeah, and you do Google, and you detect your own symptoms, and
yes, but I've got to say, I have been right sometimes, and when the doctor says it, I tell my mom, see, I told you it was that. I told you I had that illness.
And the thing that's funny is even though the symptom could be like super minor, you're just like, I'm dying I'm gonna die tonight. Do you think I'm gonna die? Oh my god, like I'm having palpitations, but it's just like you have a burp coming out or something.
Like, remember today in class when they said, oh, my hand hurts, do you think they're gonna cut it off?
Yeah. And what did the doctor say?
That
they're gonna
cut it off.
See, you're sometimes right. But
got
yeah,
some
and just so people know that the hypochondriasis is anxiety disorder, and people suffer with it. And it's like it could be funny, but at the end of the day, it's a serious thing, and there are treatments for it.
Definitely.
And you can take SSRIs too.
I mean, yesterday, when my dad told me, oh, they might have to cut your hand open, I started getting hot flashes. I had to take my shirt off. I was nauseous. I had to lie down. I needed water. It was just, it did affect me.
Of course, it's going to affect you. But all that aside, we were talking about Munchausen Syndrome and how, it could be confused maybe for people who are not educated in the topic, but okay, so there's a couple cases I've heard. Everyone has heard of the DD and Gypsy.
I haven't.
DD and Gypsy.
Nope.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I won't go too deep into that subject because people know about it. Don't you use Snapchat?
It has to do with Snapchat.
I think it's been on Snapchat before.
Oh, like those little news stories.
Yes.
I usually skip.
Well, Gypsy is DD's daughter, and this was the case of Munchausen by proxy. By proxy, as in, it's not the person themselves; it's the caregiver doing it to the person they're caring for. And this is DD. She had it. She basically forced Gypsy into acting like she can't walk. She has like cancer or whatever, and like the whole city fell for it, or the whole town fell for it. They made them a house, so many things, and doctors were like, your daughter could walk. We don't know why she's not walking. And she's like, no, something is wrong with my daughter. And so the difference between a hypochondria and DD is they know they don't have an illness.
Oh, okay. So DD knows that they don't have an illness, but yet she's
just seeking the attention.
Oh,
she likes the care, and she likes to be the mother that is like super mom and like caring for her kid.
Mm-hmm.
You get it?
Yeah.
So that's what the difference is. But a hypochondriac really thinks they're dying.
Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, and so this case ended up with Gypsy actually killing her mother.
Whoa.
Yeah.
She figured it out that she
knew.
She knew she could walk, but her
mom. Of course, she was walking in the home all the time when no one was looking.
Oh, but when she was with her mom, she was acting like
she was outdoors or at the doctor, she was the sick child.
But did that transfer to her as well, or was it just the mom who had it?
Well, I'm sure that it led to a lot of mental health illnesses, and it did.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But yeah, and that's just a case that a lot of people know about.
Oh, I didn't know, but that's cool.
Yeah, and there's also I read something online. So it's crazy. It goes to as far as people coming into the hospital with them passing kidney stones at home. Mm-hmm. And when you look at the stones, they're geological stones. They're not biological stones. No.
Are you serious?
So the kidney stone they passed was a real rock, like just a geological rock.
They just got an actual rock from their garden, and they were just like, I peed it out.
I guess.
No, but we're laughing, but it's so serious. Like
it is. And the sad part is it affects people.
I'm sure
when it comes with the by proxy, with the caregiver doing it to the person receiving care.
Yeah.
And an example of that is I learned this in nursing school. So at the hospital, as a nurse, I have to learn how to be aware of my surroundings, like be aware of in case there's abuse, in case people have Munchausen syndrome by proxy. And nurses have them too, which we will talk about in the next podcast about serial killer nurses, by the way. But there was a mom, and I'm just going to say a boy. I won't give too many details. But the son had recurrent UTIs and was being hospitalized. You know what UTIs are, right?
Yeah. Urinary tract infection.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And so the nurse realized that every time she's taking the urine sample, there is no UTI. When she gives the mom the urine cup and asks them to take the sample, there's a UTI.
But what's the point?
Well, see this, okay? So the nurse caught on to the whatever was going on. And this kid's getting treatment, antibiotics, and that's bad if you're getting antibiotics when you don't have an infection. So this mom is getting pleasure out of the fact that she's the sick kid's mom, but she's damaging
her son's immune system.
Exactly. So the nurse decided, let me look into this, told the lab that, hey, I think this is what's going on. Can you guys pay a little attention to it? Okay, the lab took it one step further and actually really tested the urine. Come to find out that the blood in the urine is not the son's blood.
Oh my God. That's ironic.
Mom has been putting her blood samples in the urine.
First, ew. Second, WTF.
Exactly. I know, and it's bad that we're not informed of this. See, you didn't know about this.
No, I didn't know about this.
It's good to know about it because there are people around us that are doing it, and we should be aware of it, and we should pay attention, and we should,
Yeah, no, definitely.
help if there's something to help with.
Exactly.
I looked into why people even do this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and, I found out that it could be from early childhood abuse or early traumatic hospital stays. And that's where it gets rooted.
Hospital stays.
Yes.
Wow. That's wow. I wouldn't have ever guessed that.
Yep. And yes, Munchausen syndrome. We do hear about it on YouTube, on Snapchat, and it's cool to hear about, cool to talk about. It's like oh my God, did you hear that news or whatever? We take it as just a trend topic to talk about, but it's serious. And after I learned about it, I was more aware of my surroundings. I was more aware of if someone who has Munchausen by proxy is actually hurting another person.
Yeah, I mean, this topic definitely was something I was fascinated by because I'd never actually heard of it. Mm-hmm. But I am looking forward to the next podcast where we talk about serial killer nurses.
Oh my God,
that's
yes.
going to be pretty fascinating as well.
Yes.
So, can't wait for that. All right, so tune in for our next podcast to hear about serial killer nurses.
Mm-hmm. You can DM us more things you want to hear on Talk Tales, and it'll make it a much more interactive podcast if we are talking about what you want to hear.
Yes, definitely send in those DMs. Mm-hmm. Well, that's it. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys had a great time with us. This is Stassi
and Luisa
signing out.